You know that moment when you look in the mirror and barely recognize yourself? When the dreams you once had feel like distant echoes buried under responsibilities, self-doubt, and distractions? I know that feeling. And I also know this. You are not lost. You are simply unfocused. Right now, your mind is scattered, pulled in 100 different directions, and it's not your fault. The world is designed to steal your attention, to keep you overwhelmed, exhausted, and second-guessing yourself. But listen to me. You are stronger than the distractions trying to break you. What if I told you that your ability to focus is the one thing standing between the life you have and the life you want? That the strength of your mind determines your success, your happiness, your confidence, and the best part, you have complete control over it. So today we're going to talk about focus. Not just as a skill, but as your greatest weapon. Because when you learn to focus, really focus, you don't just change your productivity, you change your entire life. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most powerful truths about the human mind. Your ability to focus, what you choose to give your energy to, determines the course of your entire life. Yet most of us don't realize just how much control we have over it. We wake up and immediately get pulled in 100 different directions. Notifications, emails, the needs of others, the noise of the world. And before we know it, the day is gone and we feel exhausted but unfulfilled. Why? Because we spent the day reacting instead of intentionally focusing. Imagine for a second that your focus is a flashlight. If you shine it all over the place, never keeping it still for more than a second, everything stays dark and blurry. But if you hold it steady on one thing, just one thing, suddenly you see clearly. That's the power of focus. It's not about doing more. It's about directing your energy with purpose. Most of us have trained our brains to be scattered. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention, social media, endless notifications, the pressure to multitask. But here's the truth. Multitasking is a lie. Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. When you try to do everything at once, you're not being productive. You're just rapidly switching between tasks, exhausting yourself in the process. And worst of all, you're weakening your ability to truly concentrate. Think about the moments when you've felt the most powerful, the most confident. Were you distracted? Or were you fully locked in, completely present in what you were doing? Whether it was solving a problem, speaking your mind, or taking a bold step forward in your life, I guarantee you were focused. You weren't second guessing. You weren't thinking about what other people were doing. You were in the moment, and that's when you were at your strongest. Now let's talk about fear, because this is where focus becomes your greatest weapon. Fear thrives in a distracted mind. When your focus is scattered, fear sneaks in through the cracks. It whispers all the reasons you shouldn't try, all the ways you might fail. But when you direct your focus, when you lock in on a goal or a task, fear doesn't have room to breathe. Think about a woman who is unstoppable. The kind of woman who walks into a room and commands attention, not because she's loud, but because she's present. She's not lost in self-doubt or wondering what people think of her. She's focused. She knows what she's here to do. And that kind of presence, that kind of confidence, it comes from training your mind to focus on what truly matters and blocking out the noise. So how do you take control of your focus? First, you have to get honest with yourself about where your attention is going. Are you spending hours scrolling, comparing your life to others? Are you constantly shifting from one task to another without actually making progress? Are you letting distractions dictate your day instead of setting clear intentions? If so, it's time to change that. Start small. Set a timer for just 30 minutes and commit to focusing on one thing. No checking your phone, no switching tasks. Just one thing. Notice how much more you get done. Notice how much clearer your mind feels. Then do it again and again. Every time you choose to focus, you're strengthening your mind, making it more resilient, more powerful. Because the truth is, you are in control. Your focus is your power. And the stronger your focus, the stronger you become. Every time you give into distractions, social media, self-doubt, endless scrolling, worrying about what others think, you are handing over your future. You might not realize it, but distractions are not just minor inconveniences. They are silent thieves, stealing your time, your energy, and your potential. Think about it. How often do you sit down to do something important only to get pulled away by a notification? How many times have you told yourself you'll just check Instagram for a minute and suddenly an hour is gone? It doesn't feel like a big deal in the moment, but those lost minutes add up to lost days, lost opportunities, lost dreams. Here's the hard truth. You are either in control of your focus or something else is. And if you don't take back that control, distractions will keep running your life. They will keep you busy but not productive, exhausted but unfulfilled. They will trick you into thinking you're doing something when in reality, you're just avoiding what truly matters. Distractions don't just steal time, they steal confidence. Every time you let yourself get pulled away from what you set out to do, you reinforce a pattern of self-interruption. You teach your brain that it's okay to break focus, that it's okay to push your goals aside. And over time, this chips away at your belief in yourself. It creates a habit of quitting before you even start. Now, let's talk about the biggest distraction of all, self-doubt. If you spend your time worrying about whether you're good enough, if you'll succeed, or what people will say about you, you are actively pulling yourself away from progress. Your mind is precious real estate. Do not let doubt take up space where confidence should live. Think about the women who inspire you, the ones who are out there making things happen, chasing their dreams, building their future. Do you think they have some magical ability to avoid distractions? No. They've simply learned how to say no to the things that don't serve them. They've built the discipline to focus on what matters, even when the world is trying to pull them in 1,000 different directions. And you can do the same. But it starts with a decision to stop letting distractions control you and start taking ownership of your attention. So what can you do? First, you need to identify your biggest distractions. Be brutally honest with yourself. Is it your phone? Negative self-talk? The fear of failing? The people around you who constantly demand your time? Once you know what's stealing your focus, you can take action. Set boundaries. Turn off notifications when you're working. Create a dedicated space for deep focus. Schedule time to do the things that truly matter to you and protect that time like your future depends on it, because it does. And most importantly, retrain your brain to stay present. The next time you catch yourself reaching for your phone, stop. Ask yourself, is this moving me forward or is this pulling me away from my future? If the answer is the latter, put it down. The more you practice resisting distractions, the stronger your ability to focus becomes. Because here's the thing, your future is not waiting for you to get serious. It's being shaped by the choices you make right now. Every moment you give away to distractions is a moment you could have spent building your dreams. So choose wisely. Because the life you want, it's on the other side of your ability to focus. Focus isn't something you're born with, it's something you train. Just like a muscle, your ability to concentrate grows stronger the more you use it. The problem is, most of us have spent years weakening our focus without even realizing it. Every time we switch tasks, check our phones, or let our minds wander, we reinforce the habit of distraction. But here's the good news. Just as you can weaken your focus, you can also rebuild it. Think about an athlete training for a marathon. She doesn't wake up one day and suddenly run 26 miles. She starts small, maybe with a single mile. Then she pushes a little further each day, strengthening her endurance, her discipline, and her mindset. Focus works the same way. You won't wake up tomorrow with an unshakable ability to concentrate, but if you commit to training your mind, you will get stronger every single day. Right now, your mind is probably used to jumping from one thing to the next. Maybe you start a task but find yourself checking your phone within minutes. Maybe you sit down to work, but your thoughts pull you in 100 different directions. This isn't because you lack discipline. It's because your brain has been conditioned to seek instant gratification. Every notification, every quick dopamine hit from scrolling has rewired your brain to crave distraction. And if you want to take back control, you have to retrain it. Start by creating small focus challenges for yourself. Set a timer for 10 or 15 minutes and commit to working on one thing, just one thing, without interruption. No checking your phone, no switching tasks. When the timer goes off, take a short break and then go again. Over time, extend these sessions. Push yourself to focus for 30 minutes, then an hour. Just like lifting heavier weights in the gym, this will strengthen your ability to concentrate. One of the most effective ways to train your focus is to create an environment that supports it. If you're constantly surrounded by distractions, your brain will struggle to stay on track. So, set yourself up for success. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Put your phone in another room if you need to. Clear your workspace so your mind isn't cluttered by distractions. Another powerful technique is mindfulness. When your thoughts start to wander, don't get frustrated, just notice it and bring yourself back to the present moment. The more you practice this, the better you'll become at catching yourself before you lose focus. It's like strengthening a mental muscle, teaching your brain to stay in the moment instead of drifting away. But the most important part of training your focus is consistency. You wouldn't expect to get fit by working out once a month, and you can't expect to develop strong focus without daily practice. It's about showing up for yourself even when it's hard, even when distractions feel tempting. Remember, focus isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Some days will be easier than others, but every time you choose to stay committed, you are strengthening your mind. You are proving to yourself that you are in control, that you are capable of deep work, that you have the discipline to follow through. And here's the best part. The more you train your focus, the more it will spill over into every area of your life. You'll find yourself more present in conversations, more confident in your decisions, and more productive in your goals. You'll start accomplishing things you once thought were impossible, simply because you had the mental strength to stay on track. Your mind is your most powerful tool, but only if you train it. The question is, are you willing to put in the work? Deep focus isn't easy. It's uncomfortable. It forces you to sit with your thoughts, to push through resistance, and to stay committed even when your mind is begging for an escape. And that's exactly why most people never develop it. They give up the moment things get hard, reaching for distractions instead of pushing through the discomfort. But here's the truth. Growth only happens when you lean into that discomfort instead of running from it. Right now, your brain is wired to seek the path of least resistance. It's not your fault. It's human nature. Your mind craves easy dopamine hits, quick rewards, and instant gratification. That's why scrolling through your phone feels effortless, while sitting down to do deep, meaningful work feels like a battle. Your brain would rather check notifications than struggle through a challenging task. It would rather be entertained than disciplined. But the problem is, every time you give in to the easy route, you reinforce a habit of distraction. You train your mind to avoid discomfort, and in doing so, you weaken your ability to focus. But here's the good news. You can retrain your brain. You can teach it to embrace discomfort instead of escaping from it. And once you do, everything changes. Because the ability to stay focused, even when things feel hard, is the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck. The most powerful women in the world, the ones who achieve incredible things, aren't more talented or lucky than you. They've simply mastered the art of pushing through discomfort. So how do you do this? How do you train your mind to stay locked in when everything in you wants to escape? First, you need to recognize when discomfort shows up. Pay attention to that moment when you feel like quitting, when your brain starts searching for distractions. That's the exact moment you need to push through. Instead of reaching for your phone, instead of convincing yourself you'll do it later, sit with the discomfort. Tell yourself, this is where I grow. One of the most effective ways to build this skill is through time blocking. Set a specific amount of time, say 30 minutes, where you commit to deep focus no matter how uncomfortable it feels. When your mind starts to wander, gently bring it back. When you feel the urge to check your phone, resist it. The goal is not to be perfect, but to build resilience. The more you do this, the stronger your focus becomes. Another powerful strategy is reframing how you see discomfort. Most people view it as a sign to stop, but what if you started seeing it as proof that you're doing something right? Think about it. Every time you feel resistance, it means you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. It means you're challenging yourself, growing stronger, and building mental toughness. Instead of avoiding that feeling, start welcoming it. The next time you sit down to work and your brain starts screaming for an escape, take a deep breath and remind yourself, this is where my focus gets stronger. This is where I separate myself from the people who quit. Because that's exactly what's happening. Most people give in to distraction. Most people don't push through. But you're different. You're training your mind to handle discomfort so that nothing can break your focus. And here's the best part. The more you practice this, the easier it gets. Over time, your brain will stop fighting against focus and start working with you. Deep work will become second nature. You'll find yourself getting more done in less time, feeling more confident, and achieving things you once thought were impossible. So don't run from the discomfort, lean into it. Because every moment you choose to stay focused, instead of escaping, you are building the kind of mental strength that will set you apart from the rest. And that strength, that's what will change your life. If you don't protect your time, the world will steal it. That's not an exaggeration, it's a fact. Every single day, there are a million things fighting for your attention: emails, messages, social media, family obligations, work responsibilities, and the endless demands of daily life. If you don't set clear boundaries, you'll constantly find yourself reacting to everyone else's needs instead of focusing on what truly matters to you. The truth is, most people struggle with focus not because they're lazy or unmotivated, but because they don't have boundaries. They allow interruptions to dictate their day. They say yes to things they don't really want to do. They let distractions creep in, not realizing that every moment they give away is a moment they'll never get back. But here's what you need to understand. Your time is your most valuable resource, and if you don't protect it, no one else will. Think about the women who inspire you, the ones who are achieving big things, building businesses, chasing their dreams, making an impact. Do you think they allow random distractions to control their day? No. They fiercely protect their time. They set boundaries, and they stick to them. Not because they're selfish, but because they know their goals deserve their full attention. So how do you start setting boundaries and reclaiming your time? First, you have to get clear on your priorities. What truly matters to you? What are the things you need to focus on in order to grow, succeed, and feel fulfilled? Once you know what's important, it becomes a lot easier to say no to everything else. The next step is learning to guard your time like it's sacred, because it is. That means scheduling deep work time and treating it like an unbreakable commitment. Block off an hour or two every day for focused work, and don't let anyone interrupt you. Turn off notifications. Put your phone on silent. Let the people around you know that this time is non-negotiable. And let's talk about saying no. For so many women, this is the hardest part. We've been conditioned to be people pleasers, to put others first, to feel guilty for prioritizing ourselves. But here's the thing. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to yourself. You're giving away time that could have been spent moving your life forward. And the reality is you can't do everything. You have to choose. So start practicing saying no with confidence. No, you don't have to answer every message immediately. No, you don't have to be available 24/7. No, you don't have to attend every event, agree to every request, or take on responsibilities that drain your energy. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a focused one. Another key part of setting boundaries is creating a distraction-free environment. Your surroundings play a huge role in your ability to focus. If your phone is constantly lighting up with notifications, if your workspace is cluttered, if you're surrounded by noise and interruptions, your brain will struggle to concentrate. So take control. Design your environment to support deep work. And finally, hold yourself accountable. Setting boundaries is one thing, but actually sticking to them is what makes the difference. If you say you're going to focus for an hour, commit to it. If you set a rule about limiting social media time, follow through. The more you honor your own boundaries, the more discipline and self-respect you build. Because at the end of the day, your time is your power. And if you want to create the life you dream of, you have to protect it fiercely. So stop letting the world steal your focus. Set boundaries, stand by them, and watch how much more you accomplish when your time is truly your own.